Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in this week. I hope you guys had a wonderful week and I wish you a beautiful week ahead. This week I'm going to be talking about abusive relationships. I'm talking about that with my sister just because, it's a very controversial topic, if I would say, and I just felt like I wanted a second opinion as well. So we're going to start with defining what an abusive relationship is and then just take it from there. Oh, by the way, before I proceed, if you aren't subscribed, just go ahead and hit the subscription button below, and I do hope that you keep coming back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by the way. If you are already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing and thank you for your constant support. So, Jay, do you want to define what an abusive relationship is?
So according to Google, it says abuse is a pattern of abusive or coercive behaviors used to maintain power and control over a former or current intimate partner. Abuse can be emotional, financial, sexual, physical, and can include threats, isolation, and intimidation. Abuse tends to escalate over time.
That's right.
I totally agree.
That's right, exactly. And before we even dive into the topic, before we proceed, I just want to say one thing, that abusive people, unless you're mentally unstable, they just choose to be abusive. Because you think about it in the sense that people tend to control their emotions depending on the crowd that is present. For example, no matter how hot-headed you are, or no matter how temperamental you are, you can never yell at your boss at the office. I know I've heard of one case where like the boss was just being a total complete a-hole and the person just like flicked him off and just walked out of the office. But like you will never see a guy beating his boss who is female.
Exactly.
Or let's say you can't do some certain things before your parents, but for some reason you can do that in front of your spouse. So it's about,
because they allow you to.
Exactly. It's about choosing. You actually choose to do it either consciously or subconsciously, but the control is there. You just choose to exercise it depending on the situation you find yourself in. So that's just what I wanted to say. So basically there's no excuse whatsoever for an abusive nature, unless you are mentally unstable. That's the only situation. But people that will tell you that they are sane but they are abusive, especially the ones that get physical, it's a no-no. There is absolutely no excuse for that.
You don't even need to be mentally unstable. Some people actually feel like it's a normal way of life. Some people have
the people that actually I feel is a mental thing. Like if they now see it as a normal thing, if they act that way towards a lot of people,
well,
then they're mentally unstable.
It depends on how you grew up or what you think your norm is.
Yeah, that's one of the I would say that's one of the factors that influence an abusive nature. Yeah. Well, just to shed more light on the different the various ways that abuse can, or the various forms that abuse can take. Physical abuse, when you find that someone just beats up his wife. There are actually other cases where you find women beating their husbands. That would fall into the category of physical abuse. That's one of the ones that are really common. And then emotional abuse as well. Someone just playing with your not playing with your mind, but they're just messing with your mind, to where they reduce you to a point where you feel like no good can come out of you. Exactly. And you being with them is the best thing that could ever happen to you in your life, and you cannot do better than stay with them, or you can't basically do better than you are doing right now. Like they just break you totally and you start feeling less of yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so ugly, oh my god, my belly is so flabby, or look at my arm is this, or I have so much. Like you just look at yourself in the mirror and you cannot see any good in yourself, and this is as a result of things that someone else, most commonly your significant other, saying terrible things to you, and just saying things to you to the point where you start believing those things. That's what I feel like mental abuse is, and I don't even know which one is worse, but to be honest, I never want to know, because like either way, the two cases are terrible. I don't know why human beings would feel like it's okay to do that to another human being.
You know, just like you said, it's actually like a two-way thing. You know, men abuse women, women also abuse men. Now, I am in no way supporting men to hit a woman or a man to hit a woman. But at the same time, a woman shouldn't go to the extent of mentally reducing her significant other. Now, men know that their strength is in their face.
Physical.
You know, they're more physical.
Their strength
Women
is physical.
have their own strength in their mouth, their tongue. So don't even use any on your man. Like, a woman knows what she can actually say to the man to reduce him to nothing. And now when you push him to the wall with your own tongue, then he is forced to use his own face, which is what he knows how to do. Because of course, men don't really talk. But at the same time, don't hit, don't use your own tongue. Like,
both parties,
you shouldn't even do anything.
Nobody should do any of that, because
if you're trying to look for ways to, in fact, you should pray to God
to settle scores. Like,
if you don't, my uncle said one time that, you know, for him, if his wife is going to have to make the house uncomfortable for him, he will leave the house. You know, just so he doesn't get to the point where
you don't get
he even wants to say anything bad or even get provoked. He'll just walk out of the house.
Yeah,
give her time, and when she's done, you know, calming down, then he'll come back to the house. That is what most people should do. Even a woman, you don't need to hit a man, or a man doesn't need to hit you. See, before you even say anything, just walk out.
Yeah, and I just feel like, you know, all these things really arise from trying to settle conflicts, trying to settle scores. And that's why communication is very, very essential. Like, communication is, I can never overstress the importance of communication. And 90%, I don't know what the actual statistics is, but about 90% of arguments or frictions that occur is as a result of the tone in which a message is conveyed. So when you're communicating, you're trying to let the person know that, okay, I don't agree with you in this aspect, or this is what you did that I don't like. So, like, there's a difference between saying, hey baby, you know, this thing that you did the other day, I didn't really like it, and then maybe the person now comes back with, yeah, but you were the one that made me do it. Then you now explain that, okay, I did this because I thought that this is what happened, and you know, I didn't think that this was how it was going to affect you, and this is why everything just went this way. But okay, if that's how you felt, I'm sorry. And then your spouse will now say, well, okay, I didn't understand that was the reasoning behind it, but now that I do, like, you guys will reach an agreement together, you solve the conflict peacefully, rather than, what did you even mean by that? Are you serious? Like, are you dumb? Are you stupid? Like,
you're giving yourself a headache.
Exactly, when you start raising your tone or start using words like, you are so dumb, like, how couldn't you even think about that? I mean, I don't know,
calling yourself
stupid
names that you don't even mean.
Calling names is a very, very terrible starting point. That's really how it starts, because today you call someone dumb, tomorrow you call the person stupid, the other day you're like, you try to raise your face, and you, like, it will just gradually progress without you even knowing. So, like, it really starts from that basic communication and knowing how to convey your message to the other person without being forceful or being very, you know, just combative about it. You know, that's why, I mean, communication really is key. And if you claim to love someone, you wouldn't want to say things that would tear them down, or do things that would destroy them, like their morale, their confidence, their esteem. You really wouldn't want to hit someone or just
even
say
the
bad
Bible
words to someone you say you
love your neighbor as
you
yourself.
love yourself.
If you love yourself, you wouldn't want to hurt
say
yourself.
exactly. You wouldn't
call yourself foolish. You wouldn't call yourself stupid,
idiot,
all
those
those, you know,
things.
all those crazy names that you be calling yourself. Like,
Exactly.
When
So
you
if
think
you
about
view your
it,
partner as yourself,
if you claim to love this person,
yeah,
then you wouldn't even think of doing some certain things.
exactly.
I mean, there are some guys, or there are some people who are just naturally abusive.
I don't think they are naturally abusive.
No, it
I feel
depends
like
on-
that's just the excuse. They'll say, "Oh, I'm temperamental, I'm this," which is why I said in the
Yeah,
beginning.
they give themselves
Do
these
you do
excuses
that in your
because
office?
they grew up this way.
Well, it depends.
Even some of their colleagues would actually tell you, oh, even if he hasn't hit anyone, but then he has this kind of attitude, you know, at the workplace or anything. There are signs, but we'll come to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that.
But at the same
I
time,
feel like everybody
abuse
has the power to control.
I am not in
Some people have
support
higher
of a man
tendencies.
hitting a woman or a woman hitting a man. If a woman should hit a man, see, whatever you get, you should carry it. If a man should hit a woman, whatever you get, you should carry it.
To that point, I actually agree. Because if you don't want to be hit, then don't hit. First punch.
Don't.
Exactly. Like there was this video that went viral the other time that a woman slapped a guy or something, and he barely just like staggered a bit, and the man now used his hand to like hit the woman.
Oh no, the one I saw, she actually carried like
that
a stool
thing knocked her
and was
off.
trying to hit the guy or something, and then the guy just little hit, and then
she was totally knocked out.
I mean, who are you to actually, you know,
Someone,
want to stand against someone who is bigger than you?
Yeah, and if you
should
really
check
don't
yourself.
want to be, if you really don't want to be hit, then don't
Then
hit.
don't
do the
hit.
first punch.
Not just about hitting, but
Yeah,
don't
because
even provoke the
too
person.
there's some women
Don't.
too that.
You can imagine
Well, not
if
women,
men
let me not say
actually.
women. There are some people that just provoke other people and hit other people. You know, I've seen men fighting, and it's like even fighting with your fellow man, like trying to beat up a fellow man, except the person attacks you. Like I don't think that's a way to resolve conflict.
But most
period.
abusive men don't even, anyone who is abusive in general, man or woman, you don't even find them, you know, fighting their equals. They always go to, they always do things to people who are actually,
who they feel
who they are superior to or less than them.
Yes.
Which, I mean, if you want to fight, then go and meet your mates.
Exactly.
Let's see who would actually beat who.
Exactly. So that's why I said like everybody has the ability to control that abusive nature if they claim to be abusive in nature. Because what you find that in some certain circumstances they don't, when you expect that yeah fight now, they will not fight because they know that they will get beat. Exactly.
They won't even talk.
Exactly. So you definitely do have the power to control it. So there is absolutely no excuse for anyone to be abusive in any way whatsoever.
One thing I actually want to add, you know, people who make the excuses of, oh, I grew up like this, you know, this was what I saw, you know, growing up, my family and everything. Now, in sociology, as I studied, you know, your family is your first point of contact to socialize. Now, they teach you everything you want to know. The minute you get into even kindergarten, elementary school, things change. Now you're mixing with different people. You know, you have friends, you have colleagues, like when you get to high school or like your workplace, your environment affects you. So you can't just give the excuse, you know, I was born like this, or, you know, I grew up seeing this around me. It could be true, but I've realized in this life, you know, certain things happen to certain people, but then you choose to make life what you want.
You make out of it.
You choose what you make out of it.
Right.
You know, you can decide, oh, okay, I'm just going to accept my fate and just, you know, live that way. Or you pick out that bad situation and turn it
around. Exactly.
And you make yourself a better person for everyone around you.
Exactly.
So stop making that excuse. God did not make anyone to be like that. You were not born. There's no abusive gene.
Exactly. There's no like an abusive gene. Exactly.
So please,
it's not hereditary.
We can all just claim this thing an abusive gene. So.
Exactly. So what do you? The next thing would be, what do you do when you find yourself in an abusive relationship? Or wait, first of all, how do people find themselves in an abusive relationship? One point that I would try to make is that who you attract is a reflection of who you are. So I don't know if you guys have heard of this phrase. There's this saying that goes, broken people attract broken people, whole people attract whole people. So you can't really give what you don't have. You have to work on yourself, make sure that you are secure in yourself, you know, you have your thing going, you are confident, you build yourself, basically. You love yourself. Learn how to love yourself. Know what love feels like by yourself before you start looking for love elsewhere, before you start, trying to partner with someone. Because if you don't address these issues, work on yourself. If you have problems with compromising, or you're selfish, or there are little bad habits of yours, work on them, work on you basically before you get into a relationship. Otherwise, if you're a broken person, you will most likely attract a broken person. So you need to realize who you are first, love yourself, and then you can now have a significant other. Someone cannot complete you. you have to be whole, and then the person whole, then both of you will complement each other.
Yeah, that is the first step. Now, for people who are actually in like abusive marriages, I want to like go into the marriage itself, because I tend to understand that, you know, before marriage, you know, there are levels before marriage. You get, or maybe like steps.
Courtship first.
You date, you court, or whatever it's called. Now, people ignore the signs.
There are
like my mom will always tell you, see,
signs.
When you're dating this guy, even if it's your friend and he accidentally just does just start watching that.
Before they even hit you, like if they will say, will you shut?
Exactly. Even if he controls himself around you, now how does he behave around other people?
Yeah.
When you go to the restaurant, you know, and you're trying to order food, is he patient? Is he or she, you know, how do they behave? Oh, something happens and then next thing he just hits the table like or curses or something, you know, like
there are always
just
signs.
know that one day that hand is going to land on your own body.
Exactly.
So, and ladies these days, like, we actually get into relationships for the wrong reasons. Everybody wants to get married. I mean,
that's a Nigerian
you want to
thing.
answer Mrs.
I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing actually, but it's pretty common in Nigeria. I know for sure, but I don't know if it's a universal.
At least we
thing.
can talk about Nigeria because we're Nigerians. But we cannot just generalize. But then, like, in this common age and time, nobody wants to date. Like, what happened to getting to know this person for 6 months to a year? Even when you are dating the person, there are certain things you need to know in that process. You know, people just neglect. Like for me, I read a lot of books, you know, so I find myself, I'm not married, but then I want to be married someday. So I'm getting ready for that time. I read books, you know, books about singles, about relationships, about marriages. I watch, you know, videos about it, you know, motivational speakers actually talk about these things, teaching you things to actually look out for, the signs to look out for, questions to ask. But then some of us go into the dating world and you ignore those important questions.
Exactly.
You're just lost in the whole
romance, caught up in the whole romance. Please,
and then you forget the important things.
Yeah, it's only teenagers that do that. But like when you are like in your 20s, that's the time to start asking. It's pardonable when you don't really ask all those kind of questions when you're in your teens, because of course it's like, well, we're just dating. But like when you're in a serious relationship and you don't ask these important questions, your antennas are not open. You're not.
Oh, and another thing that Nigerian girls
antennas are
do,
not active.
You're dating this guy and then you're hiding him. Because why are you hiding him? Why? I mean, and then you see, even in movies where you see, I believe our Nigerian movies actually reflect our society, you know, broken, whole, whatever it is. Now you see in these movies that two girls are dating the same guy and they have no idea, and they call themselves best friends. Or even two sisters are dating the same guy and the guy is treating them the same way, probably abusing themselves, and they don't even know. Now, how would I be dating someone and my sister doesn't even know about the person?
Exactly.
And the people I consider my close friends, not just knowing about the person, but seeing the person's picture. You know,
you need to know
to even identify the person, meet the person.
Exactly.
Have another person, you know, assess this guy.
Be your blind spot.
Or assess the girl.
Look,
because when you're lost
at this
in this relationship,
you have a blind spot. Exactly.
But other people can see it. Now, it's not just about them seeing it. Are you willing to listen to them when they actually tell you the bad sides about this person? Now, this is what people miss out when you're dating this person. And then you end up, or some people actually are in the relationship and are experiencing these things, and they be like, oh, he will change. He will change. I'll keep praying he will change. And then you're dating. Next thing, he goes on one knee and he proposes, and you accept him. In the marriage, what happens? It continues. It even multiplies. I mean, at that point in the marriage, you're not going anywhere, man. You're stuck unless you want to get a divorce, which is never a good thing. I mean, that's a topic for another day, but I wouldn't expect someone to go into a marriage with the mindset of divorce.
I wouldn't be wanting to get into a relationship and at the back of my mind, I'm
then
like,
you're not even willing to work for it.
Exactly.
But then let's not even deviate here. But you know, when you date, ask questions,
look out
Observe.
for signs.
Observe.
Show this person to people that are important in your life.
You don't need to live with him in his house to actually know that he's abusive. You don't need to live in the same house with this girl to know that she's abusive.
Yeah.
Hanging out, take him to different places.
In their nature.
You know, take him out with your friends, with different people, different places, to the movies. You know, provoke some feelings in him, and then you see how he reacts.
Yeah, watch the reactions. Yeah.
But then, if you actually have seen these things and you decide to close your eyes,
stay there, and you're like,
he'll
change.
I mean, your own, whatever you get,
he will change.
Take it. Because I've realized that some women actually, they just accept it.
Another reason why people find themselves in abusive relationships is because they just rush into relationships. And I feel like when you're in your teens, that's when, asking questions is not really priority. It's like, oh, I just want to date and all that. But when you're in your 20s, when you start getting into, serious relationships, before you even get into the relationship, that's when you should start asking questions. Because you need to know if beyond the surface, beyond all that I'm seeing, she's beautiful, he's handsome, he has this, he's this, he's that, she's this, she's that. Do my goals align? Not goals, but like, do our values align with? Yeah. So are they aligned? So you want to find out all those things before you now decide to get into that relationship. And always choose to be with someone that appreciates you, someone that adores you, because again, love is about giving, so if it's more about giving than taking. So if this person doesn't enrich you, empower you, doesn't make you feel happy, make you feel at peace, then
the person doesn't respect you or even has a good character.
Exactly.
I think a good character actually beats everything, because and you need to have the fear of God. Whatever religion you practice, you need to respect the supreme God up there. Like, if you don't have that fear of God, see, anything can make you do anything to anyone and you won't feel bad about it. Right. But then when you actually fear God and you have that character, you know that, oh, my mom didn't bring me up this way. This is, what I am, this is how I am. And I respect my fellow human beings, not just because, oh, I'm a man or she's a woman, but I respect my fellow human beings. Then you're good to go. But then, don't look at, certain red flags and just ignore it.
Yeah.
You just get yourself into trouble. And some women don't even leave, some women or men don't even leave to tell their stories. Just very few people leave to tell their stories.
Yeah, it's terrible. So what to do when you find yourself in an abusive relationship? This one is pretty dicey because, if you're on the outside looking in, it's very easy to just say, well, just leave. Like, what are you still doing there? Can't you see that this man or this woman does this or that and blah, blah, blah? Just leave. It's not so hard, Meanwhile, while the person is in there, they are thinking so many things. Maybe, let's say a woman, for example, a typical Nigerian woman from back in the day will probably be thinking, if I leave this man, I don't have a job, and who will take care of my children? Who's going to give me money? Because like back in the day, women were very, very dependent on their husbands for finances, for everything. Really. Yeah, so I feel like that was one of the major reasons why women wouldn't just stand up and leave the home, because it's like, I don't have any means of survival. Where would I go to if I leave this man? But now with more people becoming more empowered, people are like, well, even if I leave you, I have a way to take care of myself. I have a job, I'm able to take care of myself, so I don't really need you in that aspect.
Yeah.
So when it comes to emotional...
No, sorry, let me cut you short. When I talk to like married people about these things, even like a pastor, not really a pastor, but the married people though, they advise that now you found yourself in that situation. First thing you do, communicate. Now, if it's really so bad that you can't even cope, take yourself out of that situation. Leave the house. Nobody's telling you you're leaving your marriage.
Yeah, just
leave the house.
For that period.
Leave that environment that's threatening your life. Leave and then talk to people, to talk to your husband or to talk to your wife, whoever it is. Most Nigerians don't even believe in talking to counselors.
It's true. A lot of people just
don't
like concealing. It's not that
basically talk to people
vocal
who you feel the person listens to. And while you're away, then you can be praying or doing the talking and everything. If there's changes, you can see changes, then you can come back. If not, my dear, pack your things and leave. Because one day, some people will be burying you. And then you'll be like,
that's something
had I known.
That's
I mean,
something
you
to
can't
always
be
think about.
To regret these things
Always
anymore.
think about. Some women who say, well, if I leave them now, who will take care of my children? I don't want another woman to come and take care of the children.
When you die, that woman will still take care of your children.
Exactly.
So you can as well just leave and take care of your children from afar.
Exactly. And it's really hard. But one way to do it is, talk to people that you really trust, like your sister, your mom, a counselor.
Talk.
Because a lot of this is...
Some people don't talk.
Yeah,
they just let it go on. The first day he slaps you, you just keep quiet.
And
another
thing is because the society makes it look like it's a thing of shame. When your home breaks apart, people
blame the
feel
woman.
like, exactly, people blame the woman. It's like, you cannot even keep a home, you cannot.
Or when the man raises his hand against
that,
you, they'll say, what did you do that?
Exactly. Those
are
are like
do something for him to lay
questions to be asking, regardless of what you do. Nobody should lay hands on anyone. Nobody should lay hands on anyone, because you definitely can control it. There are so many other ways to settle conflicts rather than lifting someone's hand. And if the man's excuse is that she was talking too much, she pushed me to the wall, blah blah blah, why didn't you walk away? Why didn't you leave the house? Would she have followed you? And even if she followed you, that would just be the woman being crazy. But even if she followed you, there are so many other ways. Just keep quiet. What will happen if you kept quiet? If she finishes ranting, raising her voice, she will keep quiet. If she sees that you're ignoring her, she will keep quiet. There is absolutely no excuse. So whenever you find yourself in this situation, talk to a counselor, talk to people, your mentors, try to let them know, be vocal about it, talk. Because
the first time
if you don't talk, people will not know that
something.
you need help. Yeah,
Exactly.
people will not know that you need help. And in the case of a mental abuse, you need to talk to a counselor. You need to surround yourself with positive people.
While you're doing that, take yourself away from that situation.
Take yourself away, exactly. Take yourself from that situation, because then you can think. You are seeing things from other perspectives,
and giving the other person room
for
correction. Giving him time to actually build on himself. Feel sorry, or talk to people, or even pray about anything. Some women will tell you, stay in your house, never leave your house, continue to pray.
Yeah, don't mind them, please.
God has given us freedom of choice,
and He's giving you a brain.
Please
don't listen to
I'm
people
a Christian, but at the same time, I will not keep praying in I don't know. It's just like going to a war zone and then standing in the middle of the war and praying.
Pray. Of course, you have to have your gun as well. Exactly. You need to use your weapons as well.